The Audie Murphy mystery finally solved, and it isn't good. When a small private plane crashed into the fog-shrouded Virginia mountains on May 28, 1971, America lost its greatest war hero turned Hollywood star, Audie Murphy, the baby-faced soldier who had single-handedly held off an entire company of German soldiers who had killed 240 enemy combatants who had earned every combat medal his country could bestow, was gone at just 45 years old. For 5 decades, we've been told it was a tragic accident. Poor visibility, pilot error, bad weather. Just another small aircraft statistic in the unforgiving Appalachian peaks. But what if everything we've been told was a carefully constructed lie? New evidence has emerged that casts a sinister shadow over Murphy's death. Evidence suggesting that the man who survived 27 months of the most brutal combat in World War II may have been deliberately silenced by the very nation he had sacrificed everything to defend. The question isn't just how Audie Murphy died anymore. It's why he was killed and who gave the order. In the years since that foggy day in Virginia, whispers and rumors have occasionally surfaced, only to be quickly dismissed as conspiracy theories. But as classified documents have slowly been released and witnesses have finally broken decades of silence, a disturbing pattern has emerged, one that challenges everything we thought we knew about America's most decorated soldier and the country he served with such distinction. What happened to Audie Murphy wasn't just a tragedy, says former military intelligence officer Colonel James Stevenson. It was a betrayal of everything he represented. And it's time Americans learned the truth. This is the story of how America's greatest hero became its most inconvenient whistleblower and paid the ultimate price. But also highly respected by the military services. He is a major in the United States Army Reserve, America's most decorated hero of World War II. He is motion picture star Audie Murphy. From orphan to war legend. To understand the magnitude of this potential betrayal, we need to understand the man himself. A journey from unimaginable poverty to unparalleled heroism. Audie Leon Murphy was born in 1925 to sharecroppers in rural Hunt County, Texas. The 7th of 12 children, his early life was defined by deprivation. His father abandoned the family when Audie was just a child, leaving him to become the man of the house. When his mother died in 1941, the 16-year-old Murphy was left to hold what remained of his family together. He never had a childhood, explains biographer Robert Williams. From his earliest years, Murphy understood hardship and responsibility in ways most adults never experience. He was hunting for food to feed his siblings by age 8. By 10, he was picking cotton alongside adults to earn pennies that would keep his family from starvation. This grinding poverty might have broken a lesser spirit, but it forged in Murphy a resilience that would later serve him on the battlefield. He dropped out of school in the 5th grade, but taught himself to be an expert marksman by hunting game to feed his family. By necessity, he learned to function on minimal sleep and to suppress his own needs for the sake of those depending on him. Everything that made Murphy an extraordinary soldier was developed during those brutal childhood years, notes Williams. The ability to endure hardship without complaint, to function under extreme stress, to put mission above personal comfort. These weren't skills the Army taught him. They were survival mechanisms he'd been practicing his entire life. Pearl Harbor changed everything. Determined to survive, Murphy attempted to enlist in the Marines, the Navy, and the Army paratroopers. All rejected him for being too small, 5 feet 5 inches in, and underweight, just 112 pounds. Undeterred, he falsified his age and finally convinced the Army infantry to take him in 1942, just after his 17th birthday. What happened next defies belief. This undersized, undereducated Texas farm boy transformed into the most decorated combat soldier of World War II. In World War II, Murphy fought in 9 major campaigns over 3 years and rose from private to the battlefield commission of 2nd lieutenant. Military historian Martin Duggett explains during that time he killed over 240 enemy soldiers, was wounded 3 times, and earned 33 awards and medals. His combat record reads like fiction. During the Allied invasion of Sicily, he destroyed an Italian cavalry unit using captured German machine guns. In France, he single-handedly captured a German machine gun nest and turned it against enemy troops. Near Ramatu, He crept into no man's land to direct artillery fire onto advancing enemy soldiers, remaining exposed to danger for over an hour. What separated Murphy from other brave soldiers wasn't just courage, explains combat veteran and military analyst Frank Morgan. It was his almost supernatural calm under fire. His commanding officers describe how he became more focused, more precise in his actions when the situation deteriorated. While others were overwhelmed by fear, Murphy's mind seemed to slow everything down, allowing him to make life-or-death decisions with remarkable clarity. His most extraordinary moment came on January 26, 1945 near Holtz, France. With his company reduced to just 19 men from the original 128, they faced an overwhelming German force. As his men retreated, Murphy, though wounded, climbed aboard a burning tank destroyer. Using its machine gun, he single-handedly held off an entire company of German infantry, then led a counterattack while wounded in the leg. For this action, he received the Medal of Honor. He was 19 years old. It was like standing on top of a box of dynamite, Murphy later recalled with characteristic understatement. I don't remember how many Germans I killed or how many machine gun nests I knocked out. I was scared and I was fighting. By war's end, Murphy had earned every U.S. combat decoration available at the time, plus 5 medals from France and Belgium. He returned home not just a hero, but a legend. His boyish face appearing on the cover of Life magazine as America's most decorated soldier. But as we now know, surviving the war would prove easier than surviving the peace. The country that embraced Murphy as a hero in 1945 would betray him by 1971, asserts investigative journalist Michael Thorne. But to understand why, we need to understand what happened in between. How the war hero became a Hollywood star and eventually a threat. Motion picture actor. But he will always be remembered in the history of the United States Army as the most decorated soldier of World War II. That would be none other than Audie Murphy. Of course, Hollywood fame, private pain. Murphy's transition to Hollywood reads like a fairy tale. Actor James Cagney saw Murphy's Life magazine cover and invited him to Hollywood. Though Murphy had no acting experience, his authentic war hero status made him marketable, and Universal Studios signed him to a contract. He arrived in Hollywood completely out of his element, explains film historian Catherine Jang. He had no connections, no education, no understanding of the industry. What he had was an earnest quality on screen, an authenticity that audiences connected with immediately, especially in westerns where his real-life experiences with horses and guns translated naturally to the genre. Over the next 2 decades, Murphy appeared in more than 40 films. He wasn't just a novelty act. He developed into a legitimate star, particularly in westerns like The Red Badge of Courage, Night Passage, and No Name on the Hill. His greatest success came in 1955 with To Hell and Back, the film adaptation of his own autobiography where Murphy played himself. The film set a box office record for Universal that stood until Jaws in 1975. There's something profoundly meta about To Hell and Back, notes Jen. Here was Murphy literally reenacting the trauma that continued to haunt him. In one scene, he had to recreate his famous stand on the burning tank destroyer, essentially reliving the most intense combat experience of his life for the cameras. The psychological toll must have been enormous. Beyond acting, Murphy wrote country music songs, including hits recorded by Dean Martin, Eddie Arnold, and Charlie Pride. He raised Racehorses horses and became a successful businessman. He formed friendships with Hollywood legends like Jimmy Stewart and developed a reputation as a straight shooter in an industry full of artifice. On the surface, it appeared that Audie Murphy had seamlessly transformed from war hero to movie star. But beneath this picture-perfect exterior lurked demons that would eventually consume him. He suffered from what we now recognize as severe post-traumatic stress disorder, explains clinical psychologist Dr. Matthew Sullivan. But in the 1950s and 60s, there wasn't even a